Hey, welcome into the Dick Hanna Dealership post-game scoreboard show on the Fan Sports Network. Ryan Buckley in for Joe Fisher on this Ducks season opener, and a victorious one for the Ducks. Number 7 team in the land, 59-13 over the Montana State Bobcats. They played for the title in the FCS last year, but showed up today and didn't have it against Oregon. An opener that went about as you would expect, or at least how you would want it to. Everything was pretty clean. Everything was pretty mistake-free. Seems like for the most part you avoided most injury, and we're going to get into all of it. Going to connect with Anthony Newman and Dusty Hare, try to get with Dirt Johnson as well. But for now, Ryan Buckley and Jordan Schultz here with you. Schultzy, how are you, man? How'd you like that one?
What's up, man? Happy Saturday to everybody. Happy week 1 of college football. I'm very excited as a Duck fan, and frankly, just coming off of last year's week 1, it was a little bit of a different feeling. Maybe not necessarily confidence that was built up in Duck fans' minds, but after this year's week 1, totally different, man. My outlook is just a 180 flip from last year at this time. I think the Ducks are deep. I'm excited about what this team is bringing to the table, and I think we saw some flashes of a lot of different things today, Buck.
Yeah, we're going to try to get into as much of it as possible, because this first game of the year is really kind of a fun one to do the post game for, because of the fact there are so many new faces to get to know, so many new players, either in new positions or playing with new teammates, whether it's via the transfer portal or guys who have moved around on the depth chart. There are a lot of new faces to get into, and we'll try to get into as many as possible. But you mentioned how the opener went last year against Idaho. That was, I wouldn't go as far as to say it was a scare, but Anthony Newman says all the time it's supposed to look a certain way against opponents like this. And last year against Idaho, it did not. This year against Montana State, it most certainly did. From the jump, they came out. Their offense was able to score on their first time drive. The defense is able to get a stop. They get a block on a punt. Right out of the gate, you have offense, defense, special teams all making plays. And that just continued throughout the afternoon. It was methodical. You saw new quarterback Dante Moore spread the ball around. We'll have a whole segment about Dante Moore specifically, but it's pretty clear there's not any controversy with what's going on under center, or at least behind center in the shotgun for the Oregon offense. Dante Moore looking great at the controls. He goes 18 of 23, I should say, 213 yards and 3 scores, finding 10 different receivers. And we'll get into those receivers as well too. But I'm kind of just going part by part down by position group through the game, Schultze, and almost every group had something that stood out and something that you have to be excited about. I mean, we mentioned the quarterbacks with Dante Moore. Yep. Novosad came in, looked fine, and then even Luke Moga comes in for a rush. He looks good. The running backs were really interesting to me, because one of the things we'll talk to Dirt and Dusty about is a lot was made about a couple of transfers on both sides of the ball. Dylan Thieneman, the new safety, and Mekhi Hughes, the new running back. And we didn't really get a lot of either of them today. And I know Thieneman was out there, and as a free safety and kind of the last line of defense, he wasn't needed a lot today, and they really weren't airing it out vertically very much. So I don't think we really saw truly what he could do, but kind of a surprise, at least if you were reading all the press clippings throughout the preseason. You know, Mekhi Hughes, the transfer from Tulane, was a preseason All-American, I believe, or at least a preseason All-Conference selection as a running back. We knew Noah Whittington would likely get the first carry as the veteran coming back, and he looked great early. His first carry, he popped for a big one.
Absolutely.
But then it wasn't Whittington. It was Jaden Lamar who came in. And then after Jaden Lamar, it was Jay Harris. And after Jay Harris, it was Jordan Davison. And then it was De'Aaron Hill. And then finally, we got Mekhi Hughes, who only gets 1 carry on the day. He did have a catch as well. But 6 different running backs getting touches on the football. And I think having that depth is going to be big throughout the season. I don't know whether a guy like Hughes is expected to have a bigger role or not. Maybe he's just getting into the swing of things. But that was one of the more interesting things that jumped out from the preseason expectation to what we saw in game 1. Not like I thought we were going to see the guy go gangbusters, but also thought maybe he would be featured a little bit more.
Yeah, I was wondering where Mekhi was as well. I was like, what, did he get suspended for like the first half or something? Because I don't think we saw him in the backfield until like late in the second quarter. It was pretty crazy to see the Ducks basically empty out their running back depth chart, maybe minus like Jay Harris or something in the third quarter. And speaking of Jay Harris, he, like Mekhi Hughes, had a catch out of the backfield, but Harris's was much bigger, 50 yards down the field, almost scored. And that's actually something that I think is going to be a focal point of their offense this year with Mekhi Hughes. Interested to see why they didn't use him as much, but I feel like what we saw in that play, 50 yards with Jaden Harris, is like a check down option for Dante Moore. That's what we're going to see with Mekhi Hughes. So whether or not it's him him, whether or not it's Jay Harris or they keep Noah Whittington out there. The thing about Hughes is he brings that ability to give you that extra receiver option out of the backfield, and he's really good with contact off the first pop. So I'm assuming that we're going to see a lot more of that this year, and it's representative of what I think Oregon's going to be able to do going late into the season. We're seeing some new things from this offense that I don't think we're used to seeing in the last couple of years, Buck.
Well, one thing we had seen, at least last season, was the hurdling of one Kenyon Sadiq. We saw it at the end of the season in the Big Ten championship game. And today, he starts out his Mackey campaign with a bang, just looking like a brick wall with a defender bouncing off of him and then rumbling into the end zone. We saw the freakish athleticism on display there. You know they're rock solid at the tight end position. I think we're going to see more depth come out of that spot later in the year. And then as far as the pass catchers are concerned, lots of different guys stepping up. They got DeCorian Moore the ball early. I know that everyone was excited to see what he could do, and even though he didn't, take the top off the defense or break a big one for a touchdown, I think we saw his athleticism right away, and we'll talk about it a little bit more later too. But maybe the play of the day for DeCorian Moore is pancaking a defensive back on a rushing touchdown.
Yeah,
seeing him step up as a blocker too, really encouraging from the freshman, and then the transfer Malik Benson from Florida State. I think you look around this receiver room and you're thinking, okay, no more Tez, no more Trayshawn Holden. What is this really going to look like? And obviously Evan Stewart out for the year or out for the foreseeable future. You knew you're getting DeCorian Moore, but he's unproven as a true freshman. And beyond that, you're getting Gary Bryant and Justice Lowe back, and that's about it. And so lots of questions about who would step up. And today, the leading receiver, 5 catches, 51 yards, and a touchdown late on a skinny post route, Malik Benson. He looked really good.
Yeah, along with the running backs, the depth that we saw the same depth at wide receiver, and that's encouraging after the 3 top ball catchers for Oregon last year are gone. And obviously 2 are really gone, 1's injured. We don't know if we're going to see Evan Stewart back, but Gary Bryant Jr. basically the leader, in time spent in that wide receiver room. And you've got guys, not only the ones that you mentioned, like DeCorian Moore and Malik Benson, that people have been excited to watch, but even the lesser mentioned, like Justice Lowe, of course, you mentioned still coming back, but people, because the wide receiver room is so good, now forget about him. Even Kyler Casper had that big, a 40-yard long ball catch from Austin Novosad later in the second half. Jay Harris had that big catch as well. Jeremiah McClellan, who had, I believe it was 2 punt blocks or 2 punt tips on special teams. He got a couple catches.
Initially, they didn't give him credit for the second one, but I do believe that he got both of those. So
I do believe so too.
A huge game for him there. And then just wrapping up the offensive side of the ball, the offensive line, man, I know you got a lot of new parts there, and they didn't bust a ton of huge runs today, but man, there is so much beef on that line. I know you're lining up against Montana State and that to a man, athlete wise, you may not be talking apples to apples here, but just even standing next to their own players, the left side of that line of World, Pregnon, and then Poncho Lulu in the middle, those guys are so big. And it looks like we'll talk to Dusty about this too, and we won't have a firm update, but it seems like they dodged a bullet with Emmanuel Pregnon, who got rolled up on early in the game, had to leave, went to the locker room, and then he did come back. But you just see the sheer mass that they have, and think once this unit really starts to gel, they're going to bully people. You can see it coming a mile away. And then you flip to the other side of the ball. Great day for the defensive line. I mean, and you would expect so. You'd expect your big boys making the push up front against an FCS opponent to have the battle won physicality wise, and it certainly was. But you saw it from some of your freaks. You saw Amari Washington with a massive game. He actually, as a D tackle, leads the team in tackles with 5 total. Also had a tackle and a half for loss. Tatum Tuioti also leading the team in tackles with 5. So those 2 dudes doing a lot up front, and then only 2 tackles on the day, but both of them sacks. Mateo Uyunglele getting into the backfield too. So the D line looking like they're not really going to miss a beat despite losing a little bit to the NFL draft. Linebackers didn't stand out to me especially today, but that can almost be like a good thing. If your linebackers aren't standing out, it's because you don't necessarily need to send them because you're getting a push from your front 4, and they're not getting carved up on defense. It felt like it was just a really solid day for them. And then back into the defense, lots of new bodies back there, including a couple true freshmen getting some reps at corner in Naeem Offord and Iffy Obidegu, I want to say. Yeah, Obidegu, that's right.
You have more balls than me, my friend. I did not
I just went for it, man.
But
a couple true freshmen playing big reps at corner early in the game. So we've got all of that to get to and more.